I've hired a contractor too.
Oh,
So we had the smallest job, right? The railing on our front porch is rotted. The toilet wobbled, and the coffee maker, we got a nice coffee maker that needs plumbing, so we don't have to like fill the water all the time, and something else, maybe the hardware in a bathtub, right? Let's go over this again. Coffee maker, bathtub hardware, wobbly toilet, and a front porch, some rotted wood he's going to replace. So we hire him back in January. He works like a day, and it's going great. Toilet's fucking solid as a rock. And he's sending pictures of the stuff you can't see so that you can admire the craftsmanship that is under the toilet, in the marble floor or whatever kind of floor. I don't know, rock thing floor. So, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. The next day he says, Woody, I can't come in. My wife has been badly hurt. We're not sure if she's going to walk again. And I'm whoa, well, take the time you need. My gosh. Like, this is a big deal. And he's like, yeah, I have to watch her. I had to take care of her, et cetera, et cetera. So he misses like a couple weeks after because of that. Dude, she was walking after 2 days, right? My sprained ankle was fucking worse than this woman's thing. And there's questions about whether she's going to walk again. But no, she's fine. But he misses weeks of work for that. Then he comes back. Works like a day or maybe didn't come in. Says, Woody, I think I got COVID, right? He gets tested for COVID. Doesn't have COVID. Misses 3 fucking weeks of work for not COVID. Right? So then
not COVID. Gotta go.
Yeah. So then he's going to come back. He's like, Woody, I'm coming Monday. I swear I'm coming Monday. Woody, I'm on my way. Woody, I had a heart attack. Had a fucking heart attack. Oh my God. You take the time you need. A heart attack. Goodness gracious. I'm not a monster. Okay. It was indigestion. Misses 3 fucking weeks for indigestion. 3 more weeks for not a heart attack. 3 weeks.
Every time Woody calls him, hello, hypochondriac contracting. How can I help you? Oh, hang on. I can't continue this phone call.
And
I'm dying.
He's sending me pictures, like trying to connect with me, Oh, things are tough here. Things are tough. Watch, these are my support schnauzers. Right? He sends me pictures of his dogs and shit like that.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
He's got support schnauzers? Are you fucking with me? Is this a joke?
I can show you.
Show me. You're going to have to show me that this man has support schnauzers, or I'm going to call you a liar.
This guy's a
This is not a problem.
Dude, y'all are so nice to these contractors. Like I get that not cursing at them is like the right way to do things. But at some point, not whipping their ass is just letting them slide. Like, the man has support schnauzers. Oh my fucking God, I see him. Oh,
yeah, Kyle, I'm totally on board with that. Like I try to be. I've worked customer service jobs. I know too. Yeah. I try to be polite. I try to be courteous. Apparently, that is not the strategy with contractors. Dude, because if you are nice, they will walk all over you.
I'm very litigious.
Schedule.
Me too. That's how I turned it around. At one point in T-Talk, I'm like, dude, at this point, we're getting attorneys involved. I don't know what to do at this point. Yeah. And he's like, Woody, don't do that. Give me a chance to prove you wrong. And I'm like, you have had so many chances. You literally send me texts saying you're on the way and then don't come. He's like, no. There was one point where he's like, the painters are scheduled for Friday. I said, seriously, it's like Wednesday at this point. You're going to get all your work done? Who are the painters? And he won't tell me. I'm like, who are the painters? He tells me something else about all the work he's going to get done and the troubles that he has in his life. And I'm like, who are the painters? I want to call the painters and see if they know that they're scheduled to come Friday. That might have been when I got the dog pictures. I don't know. But it was...
there's Huey, and Louie. There's support now.
So then he's like,
it's paw prints.
He's like, it's the same guys that pressure washed. It's like Salarno or something. And I'm like, well, fuck, he answered in such a way that I can't call. And anyway, he cancels work the next 2 days. I'm like, I guess you canceled the painters. Yeah. He's like, I guess you canceled the painters. He's like, yep, I got that all taken care of. We canceled the painters. So then he ends up doing the painting himself. Says, man, the prices these painters painters want is outrageous. And it's like, you never scheduled the painters. You found out the price and decided to paint yourself. You know you're lying to me. You're always lying to me. You lie so fucking much. I'm like,
to do this. This is what you need to do.
That's what I did. At one point, I'm out there talking to him, and I'm like, dude, the gap between what you say you're going to do and what you actually do is so wide, I can't make that mental leap that when you tell me you're going to do this, that I don't get it. I've never met anyone less reliable than you. This is like actual words I've said to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, would he give me a chance to prove you wrong? And eventually, he finished the job. It was probably 2 weeks worth of work. He did it from
That's
January
why we're hearing about this, by the way. In
May.
case somebody's wondering, this has been ongoing for weeks, and Woody didn't want to talk about it until it was
months.
Like for anyone who's listening to this, like here's my 2 cents on how you handle these awful scenarios.
Just real quick. Towards the end, his wife was dying. She's got lupus.
Dead.
She's got lupus.
I would say, you know what? You better hope she dies,
dude.
Because if she's not dead tomorrow, I'm coming for her.
Dude,
every single morning that he doesn't show up, you should send him a photo of the obituary page. Hey, I didn't see her here. You were at work yesterday.
Dude, sorry I cut you off, Kyle, but by the end with the dying wife stuff, I had no heart. I'm like, you're making your problems my problems. I don't want to hear this.
Sounds like a you problem. You know what problem I got? My coffee maker.
Is
your coffee maker alive?
He wasn't credible anymore. And by the way, I don't think lupus kills you.
I don't care if it does. I hope it does.
I
hope she's got it bad. No, you threaten these people with fucking litigation because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to show up in court. Nobody wants that. Everyone fears that so much. Believe me, I've been there. Nobody wants to go to court and have a judge deciding what they're going to have to pay out of pocket or potentially go to jail or something like that. Obviously, this is a civil contractor dispute. Nobody's going to jail, but you get what I'm saying. You threaten these people right away with litigation. If they have done you wrong, you don't owe these people anything. You've got to threaten them right away because people who are already in that business and they have this level of shittiness, it's not a new thing to them. This is just how they operate, and they're going to keep doing it to you. And you're not the only one that they are putting off. The reason they can't come tomorrow is because tomorrow they're going to a guy's house where they're 5 weeks late.
That's not true. Yeah. Do you want to know why I know?
I would love to, because I bet it's hilarious.
Doing meth?
He he parked his trailer with tools in my driveway all winter long, from January to May.
You think it's his trailer? He stole that trailer from a real contractor. In reality, he has stolen the identity of an actual contractor. And he's living in his house like that scene in Unbreakable. The guy's tied to a radiator, and every night he's just drinking beer and spitting it on him. This man is an insane asylum kind of character.
He had his trailer. And that was the thing. So we have our driveway is, it's weird. You can enter the house from the north side and the eastern side. Yeah. And the eastern driveway, the better one, was just occupied all winter long.
You've got a better driveway and you can't afford $100 for a DNA test.
The man has an eastern driveway, but he can't afford his DNA test. Fucking Wayne Manor over here. I don't know where I'm from.
Don't use the
France,
eastern
Germany,
driveway.
Who knows?
Afternoon. It's too hot. I drive into the western driveway afternoon. I want to keep my tires nice.
Don't they know that in the summer I like to use the eastern driveway to avoid the glare?
We just got it repaved. It has brand new dark asphalt. It's so smooth. I'm on the gravel driveway.
And I have to drive on gravel in my brand new pickup truck? I'm trying to get out to off-road on one of my many hobbies.
But yeah,
with my friend the Wizard.
And he did great work. It just took him 12 times longer than it should have.
No, I like
my dumbass wants to rehire him for a one-day job.
My dad would always threaten people. He would literally threaten people with physical violence. And that sounds like a terrible idea, but it would usually work. Yeah. There was a guy who was stealing tools from him once, a contractor. He's the contractor and he's stealing my dad's tools. And my dad goes to the guy's house and the guy's daughter is there. And she's a little girl. She's 9. And she's like, "Hey, is your dad around?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Have you seen my tools?" And she's like, "My daddy took your tools."
Oh my God.
And he goes and he beats the shit out of this guy. And he's like, I'm going to come back. And if you've hurt that little girl, I'm going to come back every day. And you're getting more of this. Just like beat the shit out of this guy who had stolen his tools. And he's like, and I want to know where my tools are. He's like, I've sold the tools. I'm so sorry. I sold the tools. Who'd you sell them to? So then he's like having to like go around and track down. It wasn't his tools. It was like race car parts. It was like this real fancy, like multi-barrel carburetor from a drag race car. It was all this stuff this fucking scumbag had stolen.
God.
People are scummy. It's hard to find good contractors. And it seems like the contractor business is somewhat populated by scummy people. It seems like it's, I don't know for what reason, but it's hard to find good people to come into your home and do drywall, carpeting, heating and air, duct work, like plumbing, you name it. It's hard.
I think they can take their breaking and entering skills and then go to prison and come out, and that turns into like little bit of actual repair work and handyman work that they can employ.
We did have those classes in prison. Like you did. HVAC was a big one in prison.
Oh, I thought you had breaking and entering classes in prison.
Oh no.
We taught those.
If anyone needs the breaking and entering classes, it's some of the guys in prison because they got caught doing it.
Okay.
So I have a good contractor. He built an amazing fence out front, and I'm like very little tiny like tile misalignments drive me nuts, and doors not shutting completely correct. And you have to shove them closed. I'm like, it tweaks me out. And this fence he built is like, I'll go out at night and just rub the fence where the joints are because they're so fucking perfect, like laser aligned. I'm like, oh, I need this guy to redo my deck. I need this precision on my deck. So I get a bunch of quotes, and he comes in way under everybody else. And I'm like, actually thinking to myself, like, I don't care if you were the most expensive. I just need this kind of quality in the deck. But I'm also thinking he didn't give me the right quote. Like he didn't add in enough for whatever. And this was before lumber turned into the price of lumber turned into the global warming graph.
It's crazy right now.
Yeah.
So he comes in every week while he's redoing the deck. He's like, hey, I got to talk to you. And I have this big smile on my face because I'm like, I know what this is. I know what you want to ask me. He's like, yeah. So the lumber, I called around and it was like, it's going to be a month or it's going to be another $3,000. Like he's doing it from like further than hitting distance. He's like, I don't really know how to say it's going to be like another $3,000. And I'm like,
he's using head movement while he tells you the price.
Yeah, he's like, how's your day been? You want to sit down? Maybe put your hands in your pocket. So it's been great. I don't even care. Every week he's like, you know what? Did you want the old deck demo too? Because that's going to be another $1,000. I don't know. I'm like, oh, you didn't put the demoing of the deck in the quote? Of course not. Of course you didn't. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. I get
crazy. It. What? Just like, no, leave the old deck there. Just
no, build over it.
Yeah. Yeah, phase technology, right? They can both exist at the same time.
Build inside of it.
Dude,
I don't want to take up any extra space either.
Yeah.
Our house always has something that needs to get done. If this guy was on the ball, like
he'd have a real customer in you.
Yeah, he'd work here full time. I'd have another dependent.
Dude, let me tell you about the greatest employee of our generation. And it's this guy that works for my dad right now. I think I've mentioned it before.
Jeremy.
It's shocking. The fucking jack of all trades this guy is. He does everything for my dad for a very low wage, like $10 or $15 an hour, plus like little bonuses depending on like what the job is. He does the grocery shopping. He puts the groceries away. And like, this is a little thing, right? Little thing. My dad's got like, obviously like a normal refrigerator, but then he's got like one of those like Coca-Cola refrigerators. It's like Coca-Cola themed, like in his little like
front on it, maybe.
Yeah, it's got the lever and it's like looks like a big Coca-Cola thing, and it's in his like guitar room with all of his amps and guitars and like his big couch and everything where he goes and like chills and plays. Well, the guy takes all of the sodas and like takes them out of their like 6-pack like plastic thing and like they're individually in there. Like, I don't know, that's just a little thing. The guy mops the floors. And I mean hands and knees scrubbing like Cinderella. Okay, like sweat dripping off of him. Like he has to work backwards to clean his own sweat. He's sweating so profusely. He makes the beds. He cleans the toilets. He puts
these things.
every week. Like there's a chore list, and it happens every week. Like each of these, the floors all get scrubbed every week. The beds get made up every day. The dad's like, I can never find a salt shaker because he puts them away. Like everything is put away in its place. Like you can't even have salt and pepper like out on a countertop because everything is in its spot, in its slot. Like all this, like
I don't know
spoons,
if I like
the
that.
ladles, the spatulas.
I'd be like, listen, Skippy, one of the salt shaker spots is right here on the counter.
Right on the counter because I need salt all the time. Like, what if I decide to eat a tomato and I want some salt? No, it's put up, it's put away. Like I went over there a few weeks ago and I was like cooking my dad and I dinner, and I was like, where is everything? He's like, it's all got a spot. You'll figure it out. It's everything's put away. The guy cuts the grass. He cleans the gutters. He cleans the pool. He keeps the pH in the pool just perfect in the saltwater pool. Like he trims the roses. He fertilizes the garden. He picks the fruit in the garden and trims away like the bad fruit so that the tomatoes will grow extra big. He works on the farm also like early in the morning and gets all that out of the way. He tends to the computer systems that moderate everything at the farm. Like he works at least 12 hours a day for my dad. And I don't think my dad's paying him more than $400 a week.
Oh, I was just about to say I knew the scam. Your father needs, this is need, not want.
Yeah.
He needs someone 10 hours a week. And this guy has turned it into a 70-hour-a-week job by doing more.
Dad loves it.
He's like, I'm not saying he's definitely not dishonest. He's just turned it into a bigger job than it could have been.
He did one dishonest thing one time, and Dad caught him. He stole a little bit, like $20 or something like that. But Dad was like, we call that spillage. That's what you call spillage. All right. You know, like, oh, he took $20 out of an ashtray. Well, I've never seen anybody scrub a floor like this man before in my entire life. I've had 4 wives, and I've never seen one of them mop a floor like this fucker. And I'd pay him $1,000 if for a woman to scrub a floor like that. Never seen it in my life. I'm telling you, my dad. It seemed kind of. My dad didn't mean it this way. He was just trying to illustrate to me like how hardworking this guy is. But my dad sent me a picture of him scrubbing the floor, and he's just on his hands and knees, and like he looked like a slave. He's a white guy. He looked like a slave though. He looked like an indentured servant scrubbing this floor, and she's so red and sweaty, and he's got his shirt off, and he's just like he's looking up like he's clearly like out of breath. He looks up. He's like. And my dad's like, ka-chink. I just want to show Kyle how hard you work. And I'm just like, God damn, he's working hard. It's just.
He's trying to earn back trust after that $20 bill incident.
Yeah, there is nothing that you can imagine like needing to do around a household and a farm that this man doesn't do at this point. My dad's
handle termites. Can he redo foundations? Can he do stuff like that?
I mean, you pay for not a plane ticket. No. A bus ticket. And this man will be at your house, not tonight, but tomorrow. And he'll do his damnedest to fix that foundation. He'll be crawling through your ducts like James Bond looking for fucking termites. He'll be biting them. He won't even need poison.
He doesn't know how to fix a foundation or kill termites. He's just hitting them, pushing dirt back in place.
He's going to grind the termites up, make a paste, and repair the foundation.
I like this guy.
Man, now we're making money.
He's clearly like gay, like effeminate, like dude. I met him the other day, and Dad was like, you know, he's been wanting to meet you for a while. He's like every now and then when you send me a picture of you, I show it to him, and he's like, oh, I want to meet him. And so like I met him, I shook his hand. He's like, it's real nice to meet you, Kyle. It's real nice. I just been looking forward to meeting you for a long time.
Well, it needs to be asked. Does this guy keep in shape?
I mean, you know, scrubbing those floors keeps the man taut. All right, I'll say that about him. Oh, speaking of taut men, our boy Dirty lost some kind of a bet the other day, and he lost the bet to Ava. You're familiar with Ava, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remind me. Other did. So.
You should do it. It's $100 and it's fascinating.
$100? What am I, made of money?
Yes, yes, Mr. Adventure the World with like you got like $250,000 worth of hobbies in your garage. Yeah, I think you can afford $100 to get a DNA test.
My garage is looking good. We got the floor epoxied. I love it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, my basement's doing terrible. My garage is fine though.
How is your basement? Update, please.
It's like,
are you in the basement aging at the same rate? Do you both look?
Oh, we both look like shit, man. We both look terrible. So basically, this was like 2 months ago now, and it was funny. I was like, initially, like it got down to like -10 here, which is very, very cold for St. Louis in the beginning of March. And a pipe burst, exploded in my basement, destroyed the ceiling down there, destroyed my walls. I had to have everything torn out in the finished area of my basement. Of course, the unfinished area is mostly fine. And I hire people. The insurance is actually pretty good. The initial contracting company, pretty good. They come remove everything, and I give them the insurance money to rebuild and put the drywall and the ceiling back up, and they do. And as they're about to finish it, this guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, it's been raining all day, and I'm now noticing a puddle forming under the wall we just put back up. And so this is clearly a foundation thing." And I was like, "Hold the phone. You guys just get out of here. Sorry about this. I got to call a foundation company now." So I call a foundation company, and they go, "Yeah, to investigate, we just need you to tear out all that drywall, the lower 2 feet that you just used the insurance money to put in." And I was like, I knew it. So I did that. And then they come and they're going to jackhammer out area in my foundation in the corner there, and then build gutters so that any water that comes through the foundation goes in the gutter, goes to an additional sump pump.
God
and this fucking cunt bastard of a sales guy, this cunt, I talked to him, and he's trying to buddy be friendly to me. And like, as I'm about to give him the deposit and everything, he's like, "All right, it's $860 or whatever to the deposit on this." And I'm like, "Okay." And just to confirm, this is going to be within my wall. You know, it's not going to be visible. There's not going to be anything taking up space because, you know, this finished room isn't the biggest room. I to fit everything I need it to, it's going to be in the wall, right? And he goes, "Oh yeah, you won't even know it's there." And I was like, good. Wanted to make sure of that before I gave you my card. Give him almost $900. This cunt leaves. We'll be there Monday. Monday rolls around. He's got $1,000 of my money in his pocket, and he no call, no shows me.
How did it get from 900 to 1,000?
I was saying almost 1,000.
Okay,
it was like $800. It was like a few $1,000 project. And then Monday comes around. I call, nothing. No call, no show. Tuesday they call and they go, "I am so sorry. We were so busy yesterday." And it's like, "Oh, really? I don't know what that's like. I was just watching paint dry." Like, and they tell me like, "We'll be out there very soon." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So you'll be here today?" "No, Friday." Okay. So this is already becoming a fiasco. Friday they come out. The guy puts it in, and he tells me when he's done, I'm working upstairs. I go down there to look at it, and this thing is 3 feet by 3 feet in the corner of my room. There's a pipe going out of it, and I'm like, and it's the guy who installed it. It's clearly not his fault. This is clearly how these things are installed. The cunt salesman is the one who told me it would be in the wall. This guy was like, "Yeah, this is just how it's done. I don't know why they would have told you that, because that's not true." And I was like, awesome. He leaves. I finish paying for it. Monday comes around. This is months after the initial break because there were so many delays with the foundation company. Monday, I get the initial contracting company back out, the drywall people, the carpet people. They've been very easy to work with, very good to work with. And this guy goes down there, comes right back up, and he goes, "I got bad news. That thing they put in is broken, and it's spraying water on your basement." And I was like,
"This is the thing to catch water, so there's no water in your basement."
It's actually spreading the Black Plague. Have you been tested for plague?
This is the sump pump. It's meant to get it out into my yard.
Yes.
And so I go down there, and he had turned it off at that point, and I was like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "Watch." And he plugs it back in. A giant crack in this 3-day-old from Friday to Monday PVC just starts going. Just spraying water out, and he unplugs it again. It slowly stops. And he's like, "I'm so sorry, man." Like, and I'm like, "Dude, you're the drywall guy. This has nothing to do with you, but you got to go. This is like the third time you've come over, and I've told you to leave because you can't do it." I call the fucking foundation company again, and I'm like, "Hey, you know that thing that I paid thousands of dollars for 3 days ago? It's broken. It's destroyed. I need someone to come out here. Please hurry." And she's like, "Actually, you're going to want to talk to Susan." I tell Susan that, and then I have to tell Ariel that, and then I have to tell Justin that, and then they assure me that Agatha is my ticket, and then they send me to Agatha, and I leave a message, and she doesn't get back to me for 36 hours. It's like the next day she's like, "I was out of town," and I was like, "Where are you?" And she tells me, "Oh, we can schedule you for next Tuesday. This is Tuesday of this week." And I was like, "Really? Like a whole week out? Like, I've already paid for this, honestly. And I think I said something to this effect. I was like, I've worked with a lot of companies, getting things done on my house, and I've never had a worse experience or dealt with worse unprofessionalism than with you guys. It's been a travesty every step of the way. Like, purposely using words like that so I don't curse, so I don't get hung up on or something. And she's like, I know, I'm really sorry about it. And I'm like, okay. And then I go, if you get any inkling that you can get me taken care of sooner than Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, please let me know. She's like, I will. I'll put a note on it. She calls me back 30 minutes later. She, Taylor? Yeah. It's going to be Wednesday.
I knew I saw it coming.
I was like, oh, okay. And so now it's still fucking Wednesday. I have a non-functional sump pump. It's been raining a lot. And so every once in a while I go down there and I can see a small little bit of moisture where clearly it's leaking. And, I'm sorry. I skipped an entire wrong part. They came out and fixed that PVC pipe. The guy initially tried to go, I can just patch that PVC pipe. And I go, no, it's a shitty pipe. Yeah. Replace the whole thing. And then he left, but then they came back again, the initial drywall people, and he was trying to put it back again. He goes, hey, there's still water coming out. They needed this gutter to be 3 feet longer. And so now I'm waiting for them to come tear out an additional 3 feet of drywall and then re-jackhammer 3 more feet of my foundation to build out this gutter. This has been months in the making. And then yesterday, insult to injury. I've been annoyed at this. And I go down yesterday to work out. My solace, my time for me to get the angst out, for me to just go lift and have fun. I go down there and I'm pacing around to finish my first set of benches. I start walking around my basement and I go, what are all those fucking bugs on the ground in the corner? I go over there. I've got a termite problem. I've got a bunch of little winged termites. And so I go, and I don't have anything to spray on them except for spider poison. And they're all over the place. And so
they love spider poison. They love it. It's like fucking vitamin B12 to termites, apparently. I can watch them actively grow and multiply every squirt.
If the termites have wings, it's a big problem. Did you know that?
It's a huge problem. Those are queens, I think.
It means they've matured, that they've been there for a long time.
So they're called breeding or swarm termites. That's what they call them. And so they're swarm termites, except they're all winged, but they can't fly. And so there's a ton of them on the ground that have clearly dropped from this I-beam in my unfinished area.
They like water, so.
Yeah, and they love
it.
But on the bright side, I was I hope like a retard. I'm like, spider poison, will that work on other bugs? And I
think it would.
Of course it will. Yeah, I'm like this isn't gonna be fine.
Work on people.
I work on people.
It works on people. I do one little misting. And the rate at which these fuckers died was amazing. Apparently brown recluse are made of something a lot tougher than these guys. And so, and then I started spraying them. My fiance comes down and is like, oh, this is so fucking gross. This is so disgusting. And I'm like, she's like, where are they coming from? And I was looking around and I see near a vent, there's a bunch of them hanging out up there. And so I have to spray spider poison all over this thing. And then I went down today. I went down last night. I woke up out of nowhere to pee at 4 a.m. And I was like, I need to go make sure there's no more bugs down there. No more bugs. We vacuumed them all up. And then I went down there again today and there aren't any more. So I don't know what the fuck is up with that.
Oh, they're hiding now.
Oh, well, yeah, they don't go where the bug spray is.
Yeah. That forced them to tunnel much deeper into the hardwood of the home.
And so now I'm waiting until Tuesday so a nice gentleman from the bug place can come out. I'm so aggravated with how
have you ever seen a movie what is it called? The Money Pit?
It's called The Money Pit. Yeah.
Yes. Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So last week on the show, we discussed Woody's terrible contractor and how he faked multiple life-threatening illnesses for himself and his wife. So he just kept delaying all these projects on Woody, and it was a real hassle. And at one point, Woody was he even showed me pictures of his dogs to get pity. And I was like, no way, let me see the dogs. And I legitimately just wanted to see the dogs. I thought he'd text me the dogs or something. And Woody was like, yeah, look at the dogs. And showed me text messages of the dogs. And completely accidentally, he, I guess, flashed the guy's phone number. Cause it's at the top of the thing. And we didn't realize until it was too late. Someone messaged me days and days and days later, and it was far too late by then. Well, I guess some people called him and tried to hire his services and have been giving him a hard time. So he's he's like calling Woody, and he's like, "You've sicked these degenerates on me. Like this bullshit show you do. There's over 180,000 views already on it, and these people are calling me, and they're doing this and that."
What are your response like when he said like that? There's 180,000 views on the YouTube video. I wanted your response to be like, well, actually, that doesn't account for all the other services that it's.
YouTube is but a fraction of our.
That's not y'all. Don't get the.
Well, the audio listeners aren't calling him. I didn't say that.
Not yet. Not yet. They aren't. The things you miss out on when you never watch the video.
Yeah, you can't get.
I didn't mean to leak his number. It sucks. But he did act like it was like yet another one of the worst things that ever happened to him. It just there. So he took about 5 months to do maybe 10 days worth of work. And when he did work, I swear this guy works from like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Like, I hate this guy so much.
How is this even worth your commute? But he would routinely work like 10 to 2. And that's part of why it takes so long.
He even said, he was like, how would you like it if I started a podcast and I like showed your number on there? And it's like, turns out he's starting a podcast. It was gonna start this week, but he has AIDS, so it's been delayed. It's been delayed 2 to 3 weeks before he begins his podcast.
What if he starts a podcast? He's
TBD.
a fucking natural, explodes past us, and then damn it, we're getting blown out by the Contractor Weekly talk hour.
5 months to
Welcome to the Lazy Frank Show. I'm Lazy Frank.
I'm Lazy Frank. Welcome to the 1 Minute Podcast.
Here's my wife, Terry Shivo. Beep, beep. She's on the monitors.
We're pretty happy with the work he did. It just, instead of like 10 days, it took 5 months to do it. And
so if somebody needs some work done
in 2022,
if somebody needs some work done, this will be done by the middle of this decade.
I didn't like that he stored his trailer in our driveway for 5 months.
You shouldn't. Just because you have 2 driveways doesn't mean you don't deserve to use both of them.
Do you have a wobbly toilet that you need fixed in 3 to 6 months? Do you have a little extra room in your front yard for a large trailer? Well, there's only one man to call for the job.
A lot of people thought that maybe he was working on someone else's project, but I had all his tools in my front yard the whole winter. Like he wasn't working anywhere else.
Those tools are pro.
Doing.
I mean, you think he's laundering money in some other way? You think he's a criminal? But this is his moonlighting gig.
I don't want to accuse him of any crimes.
He kept asking me for more money, so no, I don't think so.
He sounds like an alcoholic.
I don't think so.
What about? Hey, we got an expert.
We do have a subject matter expert here. Not that
often
I know.
Late.
Often late.
Often late.
He makes promises that he never fulfills.
Right.
He likes to use his nail gun drunk. Look how far it could go.
I looked in his trailer, there's nothing in there but 3 kegs of beer and a vomit stinking mattress.
All his tools were really nice. He has everything's matching DeWalt. He's a DeWalt guy, and all of his tools matched. It was all like high-end stuff. He made an outstanding first impression.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I like DeWalt as well.
Missed just like at first it'd be like, hey bro, when should I expect you? That was the phrasing I always used. When should I expect you? It's a nice way of saying like you come into work today, dude. Yeah. And there'd be some excuse. It got to be I just didn't expect him anymore. Like of course he's not coming to work. Why would he? And he got demo done immediately. You know what else I hated? Just remembering this, and it made me so mad. We hired him for like a smaller project, right? Like just the toilet and coffee maker or whatever it was. And he's like, actually, I'm a really good carpenter. And like, check out how loose this is. And there's a wobbly hand railing. It goes like, it's a front porch. It has maybe 4 steps. And the railing is wobbly. And he rips it down and says, look how weak that was. And I'm like, well...
Look how easy this hammer dents your car.
Yeah. And
you need protection.
Now I have to face
It's like one of those guys that comes in your house to sell you like a steam cleaner and pours like crude oil on your white carpets first.
Yeah. Want to believe
no, he literally did that. He ripped down the railing, and then there was like a globe. Picture like a 1 foot diameter sort of decorative wooden ball at the top of a newel post. And he ripped that off too. And he's like, look, this comes right off. And it's like, you're You're doing demo, like pre-estimate. I don't have a quote to fix this yet.
I would literally call the police.
Like, it's the shadiest fucking tactic ever.
I would literally call the police. You just tell them the truth. I called this man and asked him to fix my toilet and my coffee maker. He walked outside and started tearing my porch apart and pointed out how weak it was. Destruction. I want to file charges for destruction of property. And then he'd be like, yeah, that's exactly what happened, but I thought he'd hire me. Fraud as well, it seems, sir. Yes. Let's get that right down.
You know what you need to do, Woody? You need to go to his house and test, like, how... Can you hang on his kitchen cabinets? I don't know. Maybe you need to test it. Look at this. I can just tear your whole kitchen apart without... look at this. This coffee maker goes right into your TV.
Yeah.
You didn't consider any of this. Wow, everything just lights on fire. Look, just tossing a match. Look at how flammable your throw pillows are.
We have a big house.
I'm showing you all the fucking danger.
There are so many things that like need to be done. Like you close a door and you can like see like a little bits of light, on the other. Like, oh, the weather sealing's not quite right, and we just got like a zillion of those. Our gutters are like there's an area in the front where the gutter doesn't point down, so it kind of drips over the side, and that causes further. Anyway, it's like we got a million little things. That was his audition to be like my fucking next dependent. I'm gonna have another guy just around here sucking money out of me all the time. I was gonna add one to the list, and he missed his chance. We got to find someone else.
Piece of shit, this guy.
Literally
jerk.
It's like calling the fucking fire department because your house is on fire, and they just like show up with a flamethrower. And you're like,
yeah. They're like, look, all this shit catches on fire.
Our fire's even hotter. We're going to intimidate the other fire into retreat.
That is the shadiest. I hired a paint. Well, I didn't actually hire him, but I hired a painter to give me a quote. I guess I had a painter. And this is the Apex house. On the siding, there was it kind of bubbled under the paint a little bit. Like water got behind it and it bubbled a bit. So he took a screwdriver and pried it off to show me that it was weak. And it's like, well, fuck. We went from like bubbling under the paint to like exposed, raw, unpainted siding.
Yeah.
Like, is this part of your sales technique? Where you take my 4 out of 10 problems and make them 9 out of 10 problems, and now like it's an emergency?
You call the police. I swear to God, you call the police.
I'm remembering.
I would not deal with that.
This is so funny. I'm remembering this, but like, there was this contractor. I think his name was like Matt or something, but it was when I was maybe in middle school. I was like 12, 13, and my parents hired this guy to do something in our kitchen. And like all contractors, he took forever to do nothing. And he was an asshole. He was the worst kind of asshole. He was like over the top religious, like always inviting us to things, talking about how important it was to go to church. And then it would be like, oh, but I guess keeping your word is like one of the chapters, one of the many. You know how often in the Bible they say like, don't lie, don't cheat people. I guess you skipped all those, Matt. And there was one time I had a buddy of mine, Sean, over, and we were hanging out in the basement. And then he's like, let's go outside and play basketball. He was very, very good. This kid was unbelievably good at basketball. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go shoot hoops with you. You're just going to humiliate me because I sucked. And we went out there and we started playing, and then we come back in, grab some water, and this guy is pretending to work in the kitchen. And he goes, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're just playing basketball. And he's like, I played in high school a little bit. We're not going to ask you a follow-up. We're 13. We don't give a fuck, you weirdo. I'm going to come out and shoot some hoops with you. Really? If my parents were home, they probably wouldn't like that. But okay, you're an adult and I'm 13, so I can't really stop you. He comes out there, and very quickly, the game of horse becomes me totally not involved, and he is hardcore 1v1ing my friend aggressively, like moving picks. At one point, like my friend was beating him handily, and this like 38-year-old.
Okay,
he was a big 13-year-old, and he was genuine. He was. I can't oversell how good he was. Like, he was playing for teams like that traveled with kids 3 years older than him, like unbelievably good. And so this asshole comes out there and thinks he's going to impress us, and he's just getting crossed over, looking like a fool. And my buddy was like going back to like take a long shot, and he gets body checked by this almost 40-year-old contractor. And I remember, I can still see it. My buddy's just like falling back onto the asphalt and just looking up like, I don't know. This is a new scenario I'm in right now. An adult I don't know just body checked me in what's supposed to be a friendly game of basketball, and I remember both of us were just like, yeah, we're gonna go play Pokemon Snap, I guess, like, or whatever the hell it was. Like, yeah, that guy fucking sucked. I think they ended up firing him because he just, he was so on his hands and knees for God that he couldn't, get the countertop.
Turns out. Same contractor as Woody's, also a time traveler. That's why he's always late. He's a time traveler.
Yeah, he's trying to beat up.
He's off going back to like beat up Taylor's friends.
I meant installing that hoop wasn't even part of the quote, but there it is.
Wait, you installed a hoop at a house in Missouri in 2001?
No, I would say he gave me one. But anyway, overtop religion is one of my biggest frustrations. I feel like it's sometimes used as a shield or a technique to be an asshole, right?
Right.
If you
won't tolerate that.
If you mention like how much you love God in your voicemail message before I leave mine, if that makes like in your greeting, then like you're just using it as a manipulation tactic, you dick.
Right.
A lot of people do that. I give people the benefit of the doubt. Some people are that religious and they think by putting like in Christ at the end of their email that it's somehow helpful. But yeah, lots of people. And I like the way you said when they lead with it, it's absolutely a manipulation tactic. I worked with someone, never directly, and this was probably 6 years ago at this point, but he was a guy in advertising that I knew and never directly, but tangentially worked with. And he would lie, just the most shameless, over the top lies. Like he was working with a client who was super religious. Like they were, they own a product, they manufacture it, they sell it in retail, and they're over the top religious. And this guy doesn't give a fuck about religion. He's like one of those like, big brain Richard Dawkins atheist. Like, but have you considered it's not real? It's like, shut up, bitch. Like, yeah, we've all considered it. And it's just it's the fucking worst dealing with people who abuse religion like that.
All right. This is sort of an am I the asshole type thing here. And I'm doing it on PKN because I'm a little concerned I might be the asshole. So let me lay out how my day started. It started off great. I went paramotoring, did something that I don't usually do, and then I flew to this restaurant, met a friend who also flew there. Like, we flew together. We ate breakfast and we flew back. It's kind of neat to have like a little paramotor adventure. As I'm landing, the concrete people are there. I did not realize they were coming. Jackie didn't know they were coming, although she got an email. It's just not the best way to communicate with her. It's mixed in with all her spam.
Yeah, email is not how you notify concrete delivery.
So that was her only notification. She got an email saying the concrete people would be there, and here's their job. First, when you put a pool in, at least our kind of pool, you put the dirt around it, and then it settles, and there's holes around the pool. So then they put the dirt in again, and then they were going to lay concrete forms, get it inspected, and then have like concrete itself. So I get there, and the road in front of my house, which I should note is my road. When it's broken, I have to repair it, and I own that road. I own the land. It's not like a public street. It's my road. You think of it as part of my driveway. It's damaged. They came in there with their trailer, and they like gouged the fuck out of it. It's in our contract that they are not allowed to use that driveway. They are allowed to use the gravel driveway on the side of their house. And but I guess no one told them or something, so they fucked our road. And then they go and they start unloading their heavy equipment on our driveway. They're supposed to do this on the gravel. It's all worked out. It's in the contract. And it's a skid steer. And they're just like dragging the skid steer, gouging the driveway itself. I'm sorry?
What is a skid steer?
It's I'm sure you've seen it. It's like a short little thing for land. It has a bucket in the front that they pick it up, and you could Google it, but it's
might call it a bobcat.
Yeah,
oh,
there it is. Yeah, Bobcat makes. There's lots of people that make skid steers, but thanks, Kyle. So anyway, they unload their skid steer on our driveway on the asphalt, and they like gouge it and scrape it the fuck up. And what's interesting to me is like the scrapes are like, not that it's a big deal. Our driveway needs repair, So the fact that they scraped it
does now,
but it's not that it has scrapes on it. It's the fact that the scrapes are like 12, 16 feet long. Like, how much of a not fuck did you give when you did like a 16-foot long scrape across my driveway?
Yeah,
it's not.
They didn't like only hear it at the end.
Yeah, yeah, right. So that's like my introduction to these guys, and I go around back, and I'm real cool. I'm like, hey, is there anything you need? Any questions you have? I'm gonna go shower up. If you need anything, let me know. They're like, nope, everything's going great. I go inside, and the internet's been out. Right? There's a fiber optic line across. We have marked it with flags and painted this line fluorescent orange so that no one would like accidentally yank it or not know. And it is yanked the fuck out of the wall. And the box that it goes into is also like dangling from the wall. And so I'm fuming mad. And here's the am I the asshole? I'm like, you guys yanked this out of the fucking wall? You can't pull this fucking wire. So in my head, my whole world is collapsing, right? Like I've got this show to do tonight, which is important to me, right? This is a big deal. I've got my mother-in-law's in the other room. She's just in that room, like recovering from chemotherapy, fighting cancer, watching TV on Netflix all day long. That's what she does. So now she's in there in like a little prison. Well, now the internet's back, and then you have my wife and daughter who use it like normal people, and my son, although he is sometimes like. He's autistic, right? So sometimes he doesn't respond to situations like this really well. And I'll just like, I'm so mad that like in my head, these fucking monkeys grabbed the cords by their hands and yanked it out of the wall. Now they might have snagged it with equipment and not noticed the bright orange flags or the fluorescent orange paint on the wire, but more likely they gave no fucks, as evidenced by the driveway.
Is it possible that at this time they are very aware of the fluorescent paint and the flags?
I would guess, yeah, that at this point, I might have brought it up, that it was painted fluorescent orange and that we marked it with flags.
Was there a lot of gesturing?
and holding a wire. There's a black wire with like little sprigs of things. Right? And I'm like, what the, like lots of hand motions. I turned Italian in this thing. And I'm like, the fuck? You can't do, right? And I'm on the phone with AT&T and the guy's looking at me through the window and I give him like one of the, like how the fuck? So the concrete guys packed up their shit and left, right? One of the guys was younger. I'm going to call him like 21 or something. And apparently he was in tears from my tirade. Right? Jackie saw him and said little
What
Julio.
made a grown man cry today?
She said that.
Who relayed to you that this gentleman was crying?
So you have the concrete people. They are subcontractors for the pool people. There's the pool guy, Josh, who is very good. He's always on top of everything. And he helped us like figure out where the concrete should go. He has an eye for design and stuff like that. We like Josh, but Josh was not on site, and that would have helped a lot. Also, the concrete guys have like a foreman, and he was not on site either. Both of them were like, they arrived 30, 40 minutes after the laborers did, who had fucked up at least 3 things in 30 or 40 minutes. And so a little ding on anyone in charge to let these.
I'm a bit like whenever I hear them do these things, like it makes me so mad that like my immediate mindset is like, well, they should probably be communicating through my lawyer at this point, and they're going to meet that contract 100%, or we will be in court. That driveway is going to be fucking fixed. I don't care if I have to take pictures and show them in court and document
Pictures
and point
have been
at them
taken.
that driveway is going to be fixed.
So
like the way you were leading into it, like, because anytime someone has like an "Am I the asshole?" story, and they're like, "Well, I think I might kind of be the asshole here," I was like, "Oh, I'm like 85% sure Woody's going to be the asshole here." And the more you've said, the more I do not think you're the asshole. Like this was, if I'm understanding correctly, this was elucidated in the contract. It was described as you will take this road, not this, not our concrete, pathway, not our driveway.
Right.
Like that's inexcusable. Like that was the one thing they were supposed to do, right? Is, hey, when you pull in, just come this way, right? And they must have been like, oh, I can't be bothered to look at line 1. If you had asked them for only brown M&Ms, you would not have gotten that. No. They would have brought fucking Skittles.
So I did curse at the people. I did curse, and they're like, oh, they're not accustomed to talking. Really? These fuckers aren't accustomed to being talked to at all. They don't speak English. One guy on site actually spoke English, and that was Baby Julio. And
it looks a little nice for the driveway.
So you're telling me that the only man in the crowd The only man in the crowd who could actually understand what you were saying was brought to tears.
The thing is, that's a lie because like he was standing in the driveway when she took Colin to parkour camp. So she came back and she's like, he wouldn't even move out of the way. She's like, I don't know what I was supposed to do, drive on my grass. And she's like, he wasn't welling up with tears. There was no he wasn't upset. He was being a dick still.
Sunk in yet.
Yeah.
It hadn't sunk in yet. It was like PTSD.
So
there
then
was a
they
delayed
backed
effect.
off. They're like, well, there weren't really tears streaming, but he looked upset. And I'm like,
Howdy.
whatever.
I'd be like, well, stop hiring pussies for your construction job.
I think I might have used that word when I talked to John. I might have said, sounds like he was a pussy. So
yeah.
I guess that I think I've laid it out pretty evenly, and honestly, those are the things they did. My response had gestures and lots of, you can't pull this fucking wire.
Men knock their thumbnails off and fucking shoot themselves with nail guns. You wrap that shit up and drive yourself to the hospital. There is no crime, and those people, they come back. I haven't worked on a ton of construction jobs, but I've done a lot of minor ones and like roofing and stuff, and like hired 15 laborers once and 3 laborers once, and then my dad's got a friend who's a contractor, and I've been to his job sites and I've seen what goes on, and my dad's been like, look at that guy. Look at that guy work, because they'll be up there like these white men who are completely shirtless, but they're bronze from the sun, and they're swinging that fucking hammer as hard as they can. There's no like tap, tap, tap to get the nail started. They start with wow.
They've got the talent.
Yeah, and they don't. They're men.
Yeah,
it sounds like there's a over there putting in some concrete and he's probably trying to tap into the internet or something. That's what he was doing.
So
that's what because that's what they always do. They're always like, oh, you brought him to tears. It's PTSD. I'd have been like, well, you know what? I think maybe he did it on purpose. I think maybe he was trying to get some pornography out of the wall or something. Just take it to your weird level.
And also, it's hard to judge the work they were doing aside from all the damage they were creating because they weren't done, right? But I'm looking at, they were supposed to like pack in the dirt next to the pool, and it's poorly packed in. There's air spaces and whatnot. I don't know if it was going to get better, but the work they've done thus far is shit. So that's a thing. Anyway, they left the job site, and Josh was like, I think we could have gotten them to come back had we just, if Josh had like smoothed it over and said, hey guys, come on back. We need this to get done. But he's like, he decided that wasn't the right course of action. Instead, they're going to like try to switch people on jobs and get it.
Yeah.
Because they work with a couple subcontractors.
Use a different concrete company.
Yeah. So we're going to get a different subcontractor to work on it.
That sounds awful.
I'm sure it'll delay the pool in the end, but fuck it. Like, I don't think I wanted them doing it, and I certainly didn't like the way they were headed. Am I the asshole?
No, you're not the asshole.
Really?
I don't know in this situation.
I don't know.
Like, I'm not imagining when you said the guy was crying. I didn't believe that for a second. Like, there's nothing to gain as a man by crying.
No.
And so it's hard for me to imagine men doing it. Like, I can't imagine a situation where I'd be like, if I cry here, it'll get me out of it. Like, no, it'd just be like, if I cry here, I'll look like a bitch and get mocked in addition to losing whatever encounter I'm currently losing. Like, there's no reason for it. And if it said it in the contract, it's like, they should have to go back and fix that. I can't imagine that it's like a ton of work for a laborer crew to quickly fix your driveway, but
I don't know
they
how
should
to
have
fix
to do
that.
that.
But yeah, I agree. They need to handle that or hire someone to handle it.
Did they scrape asphalt? Is that what they did?
Yeah,
the way that I would fix it to my standards, you're gonna have to go back out there and spray that bitch with tar. You have to retar that thing.
I actually Googled it, and but I didn't go long because I was on my phone. And that's one way to repair it. There's another way of troweling it. I don't know the best way to repair it, but they should do something because otherwise it's just going to get wet and freeze and open, and that'll be where the first pothole forms. Yeah. So yeah, they need to handle that. And I think the way that it went so bad is they had a trailer with the flat tire, gave no fucks about the fact that the trailer had a flat, and just drug shit along the ground.
What a great crew.
Yeah.
That wasn't the A-team.
No. That last part's not confirmed, but I heard...
maybe it was, and somewhere else, like one of those Ugandan Toyota war trucks just barreled up someone's driveway, and 3 drunken Mexicans fell out the side of it, and we're like, "Is this the right house?" No, somewhere else that happened.
There was maybe one thing. Josh was like, "They're just not used to being spoken to that way," and I'm like, "Really?" No, I don't mean to be like a total ass that like doesn't treat laborers like full-fledged people or something, but I just find it hard to believe that in the construction industry, people bite their tongues as much as he says.
I am accustomed to a much more gruff, no political correctness kind of like, this is a manly work area kind of thing. This is very much like a locker room or a sports team on the field at the same time. When you fuck up, there's scolding. I've seen laborers get scolded many
There's accountability.
times. There's accountability. I've seen a lot of laborers get scolded. I've seen my dad do it. He screams at them in their face. He lets them know. He holds the thing. Look at this thing. This thing isn't supposed to be like this. You did this. You've been warned. This is the third time. You're costing me fucking money. Last chance, Julio or Bob or whatever.
I remember as a little kid, like sometimes being upstairs because my parents were always having like renovations and like, you're upstairs in your room doing what homework. And I'd hear like screaming from the kitchen or wherever downstairs. And I'd be like, oh no, mom and dad are fighting. And then I'd hear like the other side of the voice being like, well, how do you expect me to get the supplies I need when you're not fronting me the money needed for this quality of tile? And I'm like, oh, thank God. It's just the contractor. It's just the contractor being a cunt. It'll blow over. But that was like something, you're right. Like I heard my dad and that guy yelled, and my mom and that guy yelled at each other repeatedly. Because that's kind of what you need to do. It seems like you just get taken advantage of if you don't. Because they just will play the, I'm just trying to keep... They do the Jerry Seinfeld routine where it's like, I'm just trying to keep as many options open for you as possible. It's like, no, you're not. You're trying to avoid making any kind of decisions. I hired you as an expert, and now you're not being an expert. You're being a professional question asker. Like if I hire an accountant to do my taxes and they go, you think you should file this part? I'm going to go, are you fucking kidding me? No, you better tell me how to file this part.
I think we get a deference here. What do you think? I'm not really...
That's why you're here. Yeah, I don't go behind the counter at Subway and become my own sandwich artist. I go there for a reason.
And if I was, there'd be more turkey on that bitch.
You're absolutely right about the professional question asker thing. I despise that in any kind of a professional. You get it most often and most readily at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's though. Like you go in there and you're like looking at nail guns and the guy walks by and he's like, hey, can I help you with anything? I want to be like, I don't know, can you? Like, do you know more than the name brands? I want to rattle off like, well, I need this, and that. Do you know the exact one, or are you going to have to start looking at labels now? Because that's what I'm doing, and I can read just fine. But you wouldn't hire those concrete men again.
No, fuck those guys, and fuck them for making me feel bad. Poor Julio's in tears. Bullshit.
Children.
My wife saw him. He wasn't in tears. He was kind of being rude.
I feel even less. Is it racist that I feel even less bad because at first I pictured like a white kid with blonde hair, but now that I know that it was a Mexican guy, I'm like, he should definitely be hardened to a little screaming and cursing, like, right? Like,
do you think he went home that night, or he's going home tonight, and his wife's like, "Oh, Pablo, how are you today? Good day at work?" He's like, I am never been more thankful to not fully understand the language here. I could only see the tears welling in the eyes of Jacob, my good work friend, as this savage in a massive house, Escobar level dealer. That's why I say, of course, I say nothing because this is a powerful man. He flies. We think we have run of the place. Just not use the side door. No, he flies in. He knows.
I did fly in.
That's what Pablo and State Pop are saying tonight.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they're not working on the pool. I'm not glad the pool's going to get delayed by some amount of time.
I had a bunch of trees in my yard removed because they were dying and like rotting, and these people destroyed my yard. It's as though I paid for a tree removal and lawn destruction service. Like so like yeah, and they're the best in the fucking biz, let me tell you. Because they basically in my backyard, I live in a wooded area, tons of trees.
We really focus mostly on the yard destruction.
we focus mostly on ruining your fucking yard.
Is your backyard nice?
My backyard is way less nice than it was after they wrecked it. It's my front yard that I'm pissed about.
The grass. Is it grass or weeds cut to the same height?
No, it was grass. Yeah.
Okay. So
I said was grass. Yeah. So basically, it was 6 trees that I needed removed in my backyard because they were all either dying or rotted or just like looming over my house and making me anxious. And so I figured, just let's rip the Band-Aid off because trees are expensive. All 6 of them down. I'll either have to do
how much
it. Yes, you can, and I'll surprise you with it. All right.
You want me to guess now, or
yes, guess now.
6 trees.
Yep.
Like big trees. Like
the smallest of them were probably that big around.
Did he go?
Did
he have to go up and climb the trees with a chainsaw?
Oh yeah, on all 6 of them.
Dude, did that cost you $3,000?
Cost me $4,900.
Okay.
That's rough.
And I guess it's more expensive sometimes. Like they charge you more depending on how much it's like how close it is to your house or whatever. It's a couple of them were like right.
It was $800 for me for one. So I was hoping you got the like bulk discount.
that was the bulk discount.
Holy shit, that's the math. $4,800.
Yeah, that was the big, because the guy this is the one part that was decent is when I was calling around about it in my head I'm like fuck it, it's gonna be $10,000. And when I called him in December, the dude was like, yeah, nobody gets trees removed in December, so I'm just trying to keep my crews working, because so here you'll get a super cheap price. And I was like, all right, that works for me. And they come and they start removing the trees. He tells me it's going to be a 1-day process. I'm no genius, but I was even in the moment like, what are you bringing like 50 people to my house to like just like all at once? Like you're like, no, this is going to take longer than that. And so he comes on like a Thursday a few weeks ago, and they start doing their shit. And the next day was obviously Friday. They come back to start again. And all they did the first time was really kind of get set up and like tie stuff around the trees, like to kind of like look at the leverage points and whatnot. Then nothing had started. And that Friday I was leaving town to go to my grandparents. And so as I'm leaving, there's like getting a bunch of work done, like sawing the trees and everything. And I'm already noticing like my yard looks like shit. Like they drove through it with the, so my yard, you know how there's a straight line from the road through your side yard for every house in existence. You know how you could, if you want to walk from the front left portion to the backyard of a house, you would walk straight past the back left side of the house, just straight. If you wanted to walk past the right back side of a house. What they did is they set up their machine and drove across my yard. Their machine started on the left side of my house and then ambled up next to my goddamn mailbox.
And this is like a private company. It's not like from the city or anything like that.
This is supposedly a decent company. Bro. They drove across my entire yard in wet weather. And then I guess they didn't like that route. And in that route, they destroyed a swath 8 feet by the entire length of the entire yard.
That's
mud destroyed. And then I guess that approach wasn't working because while I was I know. And while I was out of town, I guess they didn't like that route on day 2 for Saturday, because the next day they took it right to the right side of my house and they drove a whole new path through my yard, and they didn't put boards down, and it was wet. And I got home Sunday and I laughed when I saw my house. I went,
as would I.
Because they've destroyed my yard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Destroyed.
That's a crazy thing
There's
to do.
Let me ask you this.
Let me real quick. When I got back on Sunday, I'm getting back from my grandparents' house. I just wanted to relax and play Age of Empires 2 all day. I'm full of steak. I've got some other steak she sent me home with. I just want to play Age of Empires 2 and get stoned and eat more steak. And I try and log on to the internet. I have no internet. These guys dug so deep into my yard without the board, with the tracks on their machine, that they physically severed my internet line. It didn't unplug it. It didn't misalign it. They drove so deep through my yard, they severed my fucking internet line.
That's fucking crazy.
And
honestly,
these
I would fucking eat their children. Praise be to Allah.
This guy, praise be to Allah. These guys, they came back yesterday because the guy told, I knew something was amiss because on the Friday after I left, a lady from the company called me and was like,
something's amiss.
Hey, there's a bunch of stuff with your yard. We're going to take care of it. And I was like, at my grandparents. I'm like, okay, so it's even worse than it was when I left. They came back yesterday. the owner or manager of the company, he wasn't there yesterday. I wonder fucking why. I wonder why he didn't want to fucking talk to me. And he sends his like goons, the workers, and they throw down some straw haphazardly. And then they come to my front door and he's like wanting me to inspect it and like pay him $5,000. And I was like, I get it. Like, you guys are just doing your job, but this is and I always keep it like calm. Like, I'm not someone to like freak out.
You can't. Yeah,
I'm always very calm about that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, honestly, like, this is unacceptable. I know all the four of you guys here. If you guys, if you at your home hired someone to remove a tree and they did this to your yard, I can't imagine what you guys would be thinking. And that's what I'm thinking right now. So if you need to tell your boss, you know, and I told him, I'm like, I'm not going to give you guys a dime until my yard is returned to the way it was before, because this is absurd. I'm going to be getting fines for my HOA.
No.
Like, do you have any idea how horrid this is?
You're
what
like,
you guys
Elon
have
Musk
done?
is trying to ruin my life.
Oh my
Elon Musk is trying to ruin my life.
He will fucking kill me.
And so my yard, I can send you a photo after the show. My yard is fucking destroyed, ruined.